Welcome everyone to a super spoopy episode of Bill and Kev's excellent tubular adventure. Lightning strike, wicked witch laugh or something. I'll edit that in, but probably not. How you doing, Bill?
I'm good. Has it been a month since we last recorded?
Yeah, it's like almost Halloween.
Well, we're actually, because last time you were like, let's do a Halloween episode, and it was mid-September. Now it's mid-October.
Yeah.
So now we can actually do that, and it would make sense.
Yeah, it's like almost appropriate.
So, real quick, what have you been up to lately?
Well,
because I know it's been a month. It's been an eventful month for both of us.
Yeah.
But let's give us some bullet points real quick, and we'll talk about stuff in more detail a little bit later.
We'll trade off. So I'll do one, and then you do one, so on and so forth. So, like 3 weeks ago, for everyone listening, I live in Maine, northern Maine to be precise, and I was browsing Facebook randomly. It was a Wednesday, and I saw that Dave Chappelle was apparently performing at the college I go to.
Now this is the Dave Chappelle.
The Dave Chappelle, not some white guy dressed as Dave Chappelle, though that would also be entertaining. Probably equally as offensive, maybe a little bit more offensive.
Not fashion photographer David LaChapelle.
No. It might have been him. He asked me to take my clothes off, so, I could be confused. Yeah, so I went and saw Dave Chappelle for like $20. The tickets originally were like $89.
Oh, wow.
But for students at the door, it was like $20, which was awesome.
Jeez.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't even know that he was like touring anymore. I thought he was pretty much done with comedy. And
yeah, I think that's the impression we all got when the kind of Chappelle show stopped and he kind of disappeared for a little while.
Yeah. But yeah, it was one of the best stand-up shows I've ever seen. Second to Dimitri Martin, just because I love Dimitri Martin so much.
Well, that's another situation where, like, a couple days before it happened, I noticed at the community college I was going to at the time that, Dimitri Martin will be here in, like, a couple days in this very building. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it wasn't advertised at all. And it's not like there's much,
just a flyer.
It's not like there's much going on in Maine, so you think they would make, like, a big deal out of this, but they were just like, oh, BT Dubs, Dave Chappelle's gonna be here. If you want to come see him, I guess. Do kids like Dave Chappelle? And I don't know if kids do, but I love him.
I'm quite a fan as well. Is he super jacked now?
No, I mean, he was wearing a lot of layers. He may be super jacked at this point.
I feel like I saw him being super jacked at one point.
He might be. He was wearing like a big coat and fitted and some boots, so he was also smoking the whole time he was on stage, which was amazing. But yeah, it was really unique because he had like a DJ open for him.
Huh.
And basically the DJ was like laying down the ground rules and being like, no flash photography, and let me make this clear, don't heckle Dave Chappelle. Because that's like pretty much why he stopped touring, is because his shows basically became like yell out the catchphrase, the show.
Yeah, like the Chappelle show was super like mimetic before like right before 4chan became like a thing.
Yes.
Like it was
like the beginning,
sort of like,
the beginning of internet
memes.
memery. Yeah, that like,
yeah, it kind of was. I mean, I'm sure it goes back further than that, but that was like a huge thing.
Yeah, that like every single
just yelling Little John quotes.
Yeah, like every middle school and into my high school aged kid knew like Rick James bitch and stomping your dirty boots all over a sofa and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, fuck your couch. That's the correct way to put that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good. The guy that played Ashy Larry on Dave Chappelle.
Oh, was he there?
Yeah, he opened for him. He did like a
Really?
he did like a solid 30 minutes. So
Oh, wow.
it was like a DJ. Oh my god! So first the DJ, gave his speech, and then he was like, "Okay, so before we get things started, I'm gonna start laying down some beats, and I want all y'all to get like crazy in here." And keep in mind, this is Northern Maine, so it was about like 800 white people in the theater, and he started playing and trying to get people to like dance and stuff, and we were all dancing, but not what he would consider dancing. So
Not enough.
it dragged on a little bit, and then I want to say his name's Carl Malone, the guy who played Ashley Larry. I'm not sure if that's correct though. He came out, and both him and Chappelle basically opened up with, "Where the hell are we? And why are there so many white people?" And it was hilarious. But he
A little bit of crowd work.
yeah. The best thing he did though, he came out to I don't know the name of the song, but it's basically a song that completely consists of, I don't know if I should, N-word, I don't worry about nothing, just over and over again. And he was singing it, and he kept trying to pass the mic to the white security guards on the side of the stage. And they were just like, "No, I'm not going there." And he did that for about 5 minutes. That was fantastic. And
well, I know on the Chappelle Show, he used to always open up with the song "Hip Hop" by Dead Prez, which is like,
oh yeah, super
fucking awesome. Yeah, anti-white
establishment.
Yeah,
I love Dead Prez.
They're fucking awesome.
Yeah. So Carl Malone's stand-up was awesome. Dave Chappelle's stand-up was amazing. The most notable thing is he was just like riffing. Like, it just seemed like he didn't really have. He maybe had like 3 or 4 prepared runs that he was going through. Like, like 3 or 4 jokes leading up to an ultimate punchline.
Okay.
But this guy walked by and he was like, "Are those fucking sandals?" And he was like, "Damn, you got some sexy feet." And then basically for the rest of the show was talking about how he likes to fuck feet, and how it takes like a real man to like fuck someone's feet. And it got real weird, but it was hilarious.
That's fun when comedians like just kind of go off the rails and get kind of like weirdly personal in a way that you're like, I don't know how seriously I should be taking this, but all right.
Yeah. He went there. It was very enjoyable.
Those kind of things can get super depressing as well. Like, I heard there was a period where Dane Cook was showing up at comedy clubs and like basically bumping smaller comedians off, and like I'm on stage, and would just talk about how, as like after Dane Cook's career like nosedived and kind of crashed and burned, and he was just doing bits about how he liked to bang prostitutes, and it was really like people were just like, "Ew, please leave. This is really depressing."
That would be my reaction to ever meeting Dane Cook.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my god.
Be like, "Oh man, I can't wait to see you in the Deadpool movie."
Is he gonna be in the Dead? Are you mixing up Dane Cook with Ryan Reynolds again?
That's the joke I'm making.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dane Cook in like Van Wilder 8 or something like that at this point. Just playing Ryan Reynolds. So that was my first week of the weeks we've been apart. How about you?
Oh Jesus, I don't even remember. It's been kind of crazy over here. I can't super talk about it, but the company I work for is going a little crazy.
Oh yeah.
So I can't name names or say anything, but it's been super stressful. So been looking for as many distractions as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be kind of one of our first like structured things we're going to do for this podcast, because Kevin, you and I have I would say similar but extremely varying tastes in a lot of stuff.
In porn.
Yeah, that too. I mean, this across the board, any form of entertainment, I'm sure we have like, it's like a Venn diagram when we overlap a lot, but we definitely have a lot of areas where we differ. So
Yeah.
I'd like to, every week when we record this, kind of challenge each other to experience something we wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
And this past recording, we didn't do it on the recording, but now we're going to do this um, every week. We basically challenged each other to listen each to an album. So I challenged you to listen to Abysmal, which is the latest album from the Black Dahlia Murder, one of my
Oh,
all-time favorite
yeah.
bands. I've been listening to them since kind of they started, and they're a melodic death metal band from, God, I don't remember where. I think Michigan, possibly, somewhere out there.
That sounds about right. Detroit.
Um,
Detroit is pretty metal.
yeah. So I challenged you to that, and Kevin, what did you challenge me with?
I couldn't really think of anything because I've basically been listening to the same music since about like 2011. I didn't really
I
have a
mean,
favorite
same
album
here.
of 2015, but I'm huge into like hip hop. Like I basically listen to everything, but what I listen to mostly on a daily basis would be like hip hop and rap and stuff like that. So I threw a a playlist at you, I think, than an individual album. I was just like, hey, listen to this. Oh wait, also listen to this, and maybe listen to this if you get time. I don't know
Well,
what you
the
actually
one
ended up listening to, but
Well, what I listen to is the if it's a playlist or an album, Acid Rap by Chance the Rapper.
yes, yeah,
You sent me that. That was, I think, the first thing you sent me.
yeah.
So I listened to that.
Did you listen to the whole
And
thing?
I did.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I really really liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's
Um,
still like that's probably the most recent. It's not an album; it was an EP that he released. So
okay.
it was free on the internet. Like that's one of the best parts that I loved about it is he released it completely free. And
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, and yeah, he's kind of a new rapper. I mean, hopefully he doesn't fall off the map like Childish Gambino, Donald Glover did. Because
Did
he's
he fall off the map?
yeah, Donald Glover kind of went crazy a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, it's really sad. Because did you listen to his first EP, Donald Glover's EP?
No, I never really listened to his rap career. My experience with Donald Glover was um, basically I saw him on like one of those Comedy Central like give four different comedians like
Yeah, like 15
five
minutes, 5
five
minutes.
minutes,
Yeah,
yeah, like 5 minutes each, and he did a set that was one of the funniest stand-up sets I've seen ever,
yeah,
like on television.
yeah. And then
Um,
Community off of that, and so
yeah,
I'm
and then
guessing
he showed up in Community.
you knew him mainly as Dong Lover, as he's lovingly known.
Yeah, it's Dong Lover, stand-up comedian, and then later I found out that he was doing that Childish Gambino was him. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so he dropped a single, "Freaks and Geeks," off his first EP, and that song is amazing. The rest of the EP wasn't terribly great. He had a lot of really emotional songs, which I mean rang true and kind of showed like who he actually was. Like a lot of melodic stuff that was him like kind of singing about never being taken seriously as a pillar in the black community, which is what he wanted to be, which is kind of why he
Huh.
got into rap, is because he wanted to be respected as a black person, which apparently you need to be a rapper to do, which is a whole issue of identity and all sorts of stuff. But
Yeah, I guess being on
a mostly
being one
white,
of like
uh,
yeah, one of two black cast members on a mostly white sitcom on NBC
yeah,
isn't super street cred,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah, exactly. But his second EP, which I believe I haven't listened to it in so long, but I think it was called Camp. Had a lot of great tracks on it, and he was also freestyling a lot, like showing up on radio shows and basically putting himself out there as like a serious rapper. And I took him seriously, but I'm also, a white person, so apparently
Yeah.
he wasn't taken seriously, and basically fell into experimenting with drugs, supposedly, so trying to become this kind of like psychedelic rapper instead. He's basically had a lot of identity issues. He ended up getting booed off the stage in a recent show in Australia.
Oh man, that's a bummer.
Yeah. But
he's super young, isn't he?
yeah, he could totally turn it around. But he's
Well, I mean,
he's
it's
definitely
just like when you're at that age,
he's definitely
it's
like
super
falling
confusing.
under the pressure. Like he's not dealing with it well. But a rapper that started touring with him, Chance the Rapper, very very good. I really like him. I hope that he releases a full album soon and it's not a total shit show, which is what happens.
I don't know, like, how many tracks were on Acid Rap? I feel like I listened to about
14, I think.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's his second EP. His first EP was I want to say Mirrors. I don't know if that's correct though, but the EP before that I like a lot more. It's a lot more emotional. It's basically about like a black kid in high school being discriminated against, and it's really, while I'm not black, I had a very tough high school experience because I'm not, the average of anything in society. So it still rang true to me a lot, and I really liked it. But yeah, Acid Rap is
Yeah, I
just
found,
super fun. Like that's still probably my favorite album to come out. It came out, I think, near the end of 2013, maybe early 2014. So it's been like almost 2 years since it came out, and there still hasn't been anything to come out that speaks to me as much as that did.
Well, I thought I found it to be pretty emotional. Very. I mean, there were some songs. What was it, like Cocoa Butter Kisses was just a little strange, but felt like sincere.
Yeah.
Paranoia was the one that really stood out to me. Which is like the second half. The way it was, I listened to it on YouTube, which I feel less bad about that now, knowing that it was.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah, it's totally free. So.
Paranoia, when I originally listened to it, that song was actually presented, like it came up as the second half of like the second or third song.
And
like
that
it just shifted into that.
That entire album, it's called Acid Rap because it's structured very similar to, not exclusively acid, but any sort of drug trip where you have this really high beginning and then you start to come down and you start to introspect and question reality. And
because I think Paranoia was actually towards the end of the track list. But it played for some reason like in the middle as well.
Yeah.
So I listened to it twice. I was just kind of blown away by that. It actually reminded me a bit of Outkast.
Yeah, definitely.
In some ways, which is like a super white point of reference.
Yeah, but no, that's like
Outkast.
It's really cool because these rappers, like a lot of the rappers I like, I mean, I like, other mainstream, more street rap, like most recently, like Fetty Wap and Future, which if we do this again, I'm going to have you listen to some more mainstream rap that you've probably heard on the radio, but what rap has become, which is basically people mumbling over trap beats. And
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
I think one of the songs that, and this isn't a recent song, this is probably from like 2011, 2012, but Wiz Khalifa's Black and Yellow.
Oh, yeah.
Always, I'm like, this is rap now.
No, it's gotten way worse. Wiz Khalifa was the beginning. There's this recent rapper that's become popular, Fetty Wap, who I think he might be from New Jersey. He references New Jersey a lot. But
possibly from New
most
Jersey,
of his songs are just him saying 1738 at different speeds. So one song will be like 1738, and then like another song's like 1738, 3-8, well, just like trap music's going on in the background. I fucking love it. You know, it's catchy as shit, but I wouldn't consider it like my favorite music at all. But it's great to dance to. But
Wow.
yeah. So if we do this again, I'll definitely suggest some more street rap. But
I actually have a suggestion. I have a suggestion lined up for this week for both of us. It's something I haven't.
Well, let's
experienced
talk
either.
about Black
But
Dahlia Murder
we'll get to that
before we
later.
get to that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But just to circle back, sorry. To finish that thought, though, about Outkast and them influencing these young rappers, is a lot of these kids, rap is becoming more accessible to, like, black kids in the suburbs, because me and my friends were talking about this. I hate Kanye West and Drake. I hate them. I hate them so
yeah,
much.
I'm not a big fan of. Kanye West music doesn't quite do it for me. I feel like there are a lot more talented people out there.
Yeah.
And his public persona just kind of he's kind of
He's a
big
douche.
baby.
He's a big douchebag. But
Yeah.
the thing that Kanye and people like Drake have done is they've shown that you don't need to grow up in an area with gang violence or drug violence or black on black crime to be a reputable, popular rapper. And that's allowed
true.
That's allowed
I
like
mean-
these black kids that grew up in the suburbs to express themselves more and to feel like they're a part of the black community instead of being these isolated pieces within the white community, which I think is great
that's a really
for
interesting point.
black identity and all sorts of things. So you have these rappers who, you know, people like Childish Gambino, sadly, who are trying to express that they're a part of the black community, where you have people like Chance the Rapper who are more like, I don't need to come into your world to be a black pillar in society. You know, the cultures are mixing, you know, like I am black and I'm proud, but also I have these white suburban roots, and that's a part of who I am as well. And that doesn't make me, you know, not important, and doesn't mean I can't express a piece of black culture that I want to be a part of. And I think that's, you know, super awesome. And that's why
That is
they
really
have all
cool.
these influences coming in, like Outkast and, you know, the rap that we usually were exposed to by, you know, media coverage and so on and so forth. You know,
mainstream media,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
super mainstream. Like
Yeah, like-
Outkast, Speakerbox and Love Below was like one of the biggest albums of like 2003,
Yeah.
2004.
Yeah.
Like that was huge, and everybody had that. Everyone I knew had that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and everybody loved it.
Yeah. And that's what
And then they kind of went away.
that's why I hope that, you know, these will have another. Apparently, Outkast is going on tour again and is planning on releasing
Really?
another album. So hopefully that will happen. I'm sure it won't be as good as Love Below and Speakerbox, but
Well, maybe it'll be as good as a Southern Playlist of Cadillac Music.
yeah. Maybe it'll be
That
as
was
good
like
as that.
Bombs Over Baghdad.
Maybe it'll be as good as that Jimi Hendrix movie that was supposed to come out, and I think did come out, and nobody just saw it.
No, I don't think that ever got made.
It apparently got made, but like it got blocked from being released because it was like not good. And the people that own the Hendrix
okay.
estate were like, no.
Yeah, I was really, really impressed with Chance the Rapper. I felt myself getting really, really into it. Like I listened to it I have a long commute home, so
Mhm.
I just put it on while I was driving home, and I just was like, oh, okay, and I just really got into it. Like driving home late at night,
Yeah.
it just kind of clicked.
Yeah.
And it felt really personal, and very, very real.
Mhm.
I was super into it. So on the, I would say, polar opposite end of the musical spectrum.
Yeah, you had me listen to Abysmal by Black Dahlia Murder.
Yeah.
And
So Black Dahlia Murder. I'm gonna give a little,
Yeah,
just
totally.
a quick rundown for our listeners. And one of the things I want to do is, if anybody's listening, I encourage you to also like get in on this, like make it like a book club.
Yeah, totally.
Like everybody just get in on this, experience something new. Maybe it's something you have or haven't experienced before, and then by all means, like maybe we'll set up a page for like a Facebook page for the podcast, and then
Yeah, and we can
you know,
post playlists in there, definitely.
yeah, and like take questions, comments,
Yeah,
and we'll talk about it on the show.
and this isn't exclusively a music podcast.
No,
This is
we-
more of a media podcast in general. So also books, movies, video games, all the
yeah.
stuff that we like to procrastinate our time with.
Yeah, exactly. So Black Dahlia Murder is a band I've been listening to since I got out of high school, because that's around the time that they first kind of hit it big. They've been doing this for 15 years now, since 2000, since they were little kids, because they're about our age,
Yeah,
about my age, I'll say.
Yeah.
So they're in their late 20s now, and I've always viewed them as kind of like death metal at the top of its game. They've always been kind of pushing the technicality and at the same time like melodic elements of death metal, and part of that's because they were from the very beginning super heavily influenced by the music from Castlevania
Oh, really?
and some other Nintendo games. Yeah,
I didn't know they had gaming influences.
yeah. Well, actually, a couple of their actually a lot of their songs in their lyrics reference Castlevania a lot. They're not like by any means a video game band, but they take a lot of like aesthetic and musical influence from Castlevania. And if you listen to some of like the old like NES, chiptunes music from Castlevania, you kind of get a sense of where they're coming from.
Mhm.
It's really interesting because they do that kind of like vertical arrangement
Yeah,
with
yeah,
their
definitely.
guitars.
I've always really enjoyed that about them. Do you want to keep talking about them?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so
Save
me and Bill here, we used to play in a band together back when he was in high school and I was in middle school.
Yeah.
And super fun, awesome time. If your young brothers out there, definitely play music with your brother. It's a great way to get to know each other.
Yeah, a great way to get into fights and
Yeah.
and I'll also come closer together.
Yeah, definitely. But we've always shared music and whatnot. And I listen to everything. I definitely love like rock and metal and stuff like that. But I've always had a hard time with death metal, just because while Black Dahlia Murder definitely has those beautiful vertical arrangements, at the same time, the vocals always turned me off a little bit, and the drumming always felt off. It felt overly complex and syncopated, where I am more a fan of... I grew up in New Jersey, so I'm a huge fan of like the Jersey hardcore scene, which is very simplistic music, but definitely has those like metal influences of...
Yeah, real heavy, but with more hardcore, less metal.
Yeah, more horizontal arrangements over vertical arrangements.
Yeah.
That's
a nice way of
lots
putting
of
it.
D chords going on.
Well, I mean, that's basically what we were doing back in the day, so...
No, we had some funk. We were cool. We were like Incubus, like that sort of stuff. Like Incubus meets System of a Down. I dug us.
Yeah. Sounds super lame now, but in 2003, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
guys.
super cool, guys. Come on. Yo, Incubus is still cool.
Are they?
Yeah! No, they're not at all. System of a Down started touring again, though. They fucking played a show in Armenia. I don't know if Armenia is still a country, but what is Armenia, which I'm guessing is near
Turkey.
Turkey.
It's in Turkey.
Or in Turkey.
Yeah. They did I know they did a tour commemorating the Armenian genocide.
Mhm.
And they said if the tour went well and they didn't end up punching each other in the face, that they would maybe think about going on real tour and doing a new album.
Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing it went poorly and they punched each other in the face.
I guess so.
Because I haven't heard anything
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Black Dahlia, Kev, what did you think of Abysmal?
I surprisingly enjoyed it thoroughly, very much so. My favorite track, definitely it started out better than it finished, I would say for me.
I'd agree.
It started out real heavy, and I loved it. And they've made some roster changes, I think, since the last time I listened to them.
When was the last time you listened to him? Do you remember? Because I think it was probably around the time Nocturnal came out.
It was Nocturnal. Yeah, the black and blue album cover. That was Nocturnal,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, there have been a couple Black and Blue albums, but yeah, so since Nocturnal, we've had Defloret, Ritual, Everblack, and now Abysmal, and they've I think changed out like one member at least per album.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the core two members are I might fuck these names up, but Trevor Sternad is the vocalist. He's been in the band since the beginning, and I want to say Ryan. Oh God, was it is it Brian Esbach? I think.
Is it the rhythm guitarist?
The rhythm guitarist. Yeah.
Yeah.
I may be fucking up his name, and I feel like an asshole for doing that because they're one of my favorite bands. But yeah, he's been kind of like the two of them have basically masterminded the band from the beginning, and they're kind of the through line. But they've gone through a bunch of drummers, bassists, and
lead guitars.
Lead guitars, yeah. So now they have Ryan Knight, who's been in a shitload of metal and hardcore bands, and he's been on for like the past since Defloret.
Mm-hmm. Is he the lead guitarist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of great, and he's added a lot to he has, I'd say, in the rhythm sections, he has a really different kind of approach to things, and it's kind of upped Brian's game.
Yeah, definitely.
And new bassist, which in a death metal band, it's kind of hard to tell that it makes a difference, but their new bassist is really good. He definitely gives a really good low end to the new stuff. The way they recorded Abysmal especially is a lot more of a live feel, so the bass is a little bit more prevalent.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that.
But the big one is their new drummer.
Yes.
Cassidy, I believe, is the last name. I'm going to look that up real quick because it's his birthday today, I believe.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that because that was one of my biggest issues with Black Dahlia Murders, that the drums always felt overly complex and not... I mean, I think that's one of the things that you liked about them is because you like very complex music, and the entire songs just felt like every single instrument was in a different time signature when the first time I heard them.
Were.
Yeah, and that's cool. That's great that you can pull that off and play that live. But I like to kind of zone out when I'm listening to music, which makes a solid beat good for me. At least coming from one instrument. So when the time signatures are changing with every single verse, it would get a little bit messy for me, and I would be like, what song am I listening to again? And in listening to Abysmal, the drums were just so good. They were awesome, and they actually matched up with the rhythm guitar, which was that's what I like. I like hardcore music, which is usually drums and rhythm hand in hand with some good vocals over it. And the vocals, I still had some trouble with them, but only in I like to be able to understand my vocals, so that way I can I also like my vocals to be something I can sing along with in the car, and I can't really screech like a banshee tearing out the heart of a sailor in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, you're not gonna get that with okay, it's Brian Esbach is the rhythm guitarist, Trevor Sternad, Ryan Knight, Max Lavelle is their new bassist, and Alan Cassidy is their new drummer.
Nice.
Who I believe it's his birthday today when we're recording this. So I saw a Facebook post about it. Yeah, I really think, I mean, the way I've seen it, they've been upping their game with every album, and then Ritual is one of my favorite albums ever, and that was 2 albums ago from Black Dahlia Murder.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, Abysmal feels like Ritual Part 2. Everblack, the album between those, was very low end. I think you'd actually like it because it's very, very kind of less chaotic and more like kind of grindy hardcore feel to it,
Mm-hmm.
while being very, very dark and low and kind of like pulsating almost.
Yeah.
It's a really great album, but Ritual was this. They just kind of came out of nowhere with this really almost beautiful melodic album that was just like so technical, but at the same time like it just had this catchiness to it, which you don't often get with black metal or death metal.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
Abysmal basically took Ritual, went twice as fast and twice as heavy, and also they really tried to be dynamic with this album and have every song sound different, which I think they've achieved on this album.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no two songs really sound similar.
Yeah.
Like they're all it's all death metal, so it's all loud and fast, but they have some like kind of slower contemplative moments. The second track, Vlad, Son of the Dragon, is really melodic and almost like doom feeling.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I really liked it. Listening to Abysmal, I got a lot of like Dragon Force flashbacks, which is more like power metal, and
Yeah.
that was really nice because it still had the death metal feel, but it just had like the like motivation that I get when I listen to power metal.
Well, it's very very fast,
Yeah.
and that's apparently Brian, the kind of the main songwriter, not the lyric writer, but the kind of the musical composer.
Mhm.
I'll say. He kind of pulled Alan Cassidy, the new drummer, aside and was kind of like, level with me. How fast can you go? and that was kind of where Abysmal came from.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was really good.
Cool. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you enjoyed, because you don't really listen to rap at all, right?
not a lot. No. I mean, I do occasionally, and I enjoy it, but it's just kind of not on my radar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And to give people at home a reference for my musical taste, so I'm a big fan of Black Dahlia Murder. The last couple albums I bought, other than Abysmal, were I bought 5 different Electric Light Orchestra albums. And I bought Zipper Down by the Eagles of Death Metal, who are not death metal.
I just
They are-
listened to Eagles of Death Metal. We're just on one of my favorite podcasts. Shout out to a podcast, even though they don't need it. Comedy Bang Bang. If you know.
Oh, were
about
they on
band.
that?
Yeah, they were super funny.
Yeah,
really,
they're
really
great.
funny. Apparently,
Yeah, there are a couple
they
of
met
real
each
weird
other
guys.
working at like a adult like gigolo bar for a lot of years. I don't know if that was just a bit or is true.
I don't know about that. Just because.
From their music videos, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Eagles of Death Metal. Zipper Down is really good, by the way. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I would definitely love to pick that up when I have some money.
It was hard. Honestly, it was hard to find, just because the album cover is just like a pair of tits with their faces like over the nipples.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
like, I was looking it up online, and I wanted to buy it so I could listen to it when I drove home from work. So that day I was looking for it, and it was like I was checking online, and it wasn't in most stores. Like Target wouldn't sell it because it's got tits on it.
Yeah.
Walmart wouldn't sell it. Best Buy said they had it, and I drove there and they didn't have it. I actually found they had one copy in a Barnes and Noble.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah, but yeah, Zipper Down, really good, and I also would recommend Time by Electric Light Orchestra. Great album.
Yeah, I'll have to check those out. Because your music suggestions are always solid.
Weird though.
Yeah.
So I have a suggestion for us, a challenge for both of us, and it's a game, and it's a web browser game. So it's going to be easy for both of us to get a hold of, and it's short. It's only a couple hours long, from what I understand. I played maybe the first hour of it, and and I stopped, and I was like, I want to talk about this on the show. So it's a game called We Know the Devil. It is I guess, a visual novel. It's kind of like one of those, almost like those Hatoful Boyfriend, like, it's not a dating simulator, but
Aww.
it is, it's not. But it's kind of in that same kind of, like, there's, static art and text, and it's mostly a text-based game, and occasionally you make a decision and it kind of changes the story.
Mm-hmm.
So a really good friend of mine, Mia Schwartz, did the art for this game, and her I want to say boyfriend or partner, Alec Lambert, did the music, and the music really stood out to me right away, and it was written by one of their friends named I believe AVB. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name right, but it's a kind of a creepy, weird. I'm trying to think of a way to describe it because I haven't finished it, but basically it's three kids during a summer camp get sent to a cabin. Like they're in a I guess a religious summer camp, and they get sent to a cabin in the woods at night where they have to wait until the devil shows up. And it's very creepy, and I don't 100% know where it's going to go, but I want to give this a shot.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but praise from it from a lot of people, and obviously I know the people who worked on it, so there's that. But other people have been really, really into it, and from what I understand, it kind of explores like the queer teen experience a little bit, and like kind of isolation, and like there's three kids and you can kind of pair off, and it kind of deals with like the exclusionary aspect of that. From what I've heard, it's very, very interesting, so I want to give it a shot, and I guess we'll post info on where you can find this game.
Yeah, totally.
So
I can put that in the description down below, right next to that subscribe button. If you want to click that too, you're welcome to. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. So yeah, for next week, we're both going to play We Know the Devil. I encourage you guys to play it as well, and then we'll all talk about it.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So, completely changing gears. Kev, have you played the Star Wars Battlefront beta?
Yeah, I have. I would love to talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Have you played it?
What do you think of it? Hell yeah, I have.
Oh, jeez. Okay, me and my squad, which is all the guys I play on PS4 with on the reg, we've been super excited about Battlefront. I've been super excited about Battlefront for years because A, I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, B, I'm a huge fan of Battlefront, and C, I'm a huge fan of Battlefield. Up until Battlefield 4, but Battlefield 3 is like one of my favorite games ever. But yeah, I was super stoked for this game because I was like, give me Battlefield with Star Wars skins. I'm sold. And then I popped open this beta, and I was like, this is a shooter that feels, it looks amazing, but it feels like it would have been a great launch title for PS4. The character movement is not dynamic at all. The weird power-ups and pickups are just stupid.
Really?
Yeah, this is what I've taken away from it, from playing it for a couple days. I was disappointed initially. It wasn't what I wanted, because I wanted Battlefield with just Star Wars skins over everything.
Okay.
But if I was 14 years old and this was the first legit Star Wars game I was getting my hands on, and a Star Wars movie was coming out right in line with it, I would be really excited and I would love it. But it feels really simple. and it feels really arcadey, and it feels more like Battlefront than it does like Battlefield, and that's awesome because it's really easy to pick up and play, and it's dynamic and smooth, but it doesn't have that competitive edge. A lot of stuff is left up to chance. It doesn't feel skill based, which is what I like from my shooters. I like my shooters to be, reward you for skill, not for like picking up a random, power up that isn't marked at all. Like, you're just picking up these power ups and what you get is like completely random. Like, there was a time that I picked up like 3 power ups in a row and got a fucking like smart rocket launcher each time. Like,
I never got the smart rocket launcher. Well, I'll agree with you that it does feel very accessible, but I feel like that's what they were going for.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So I'm not a multiplayer shooter guy at all. That's really not my thing. It's not my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
But I am a big Star Wars fan, and I really liked it.
Yeah. Can we talk about them particle effects? Ooh, my boner.
Yeah, the game's really pretty, with the exception of the hero characters.
Oh,
their animations are very clearly unfinished. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, is that this looks exactly the same as what they showed at E3. And I'm hoping that this is an unfinished build and that it's going to look a lot better when it comes out, but also it's coming out like in a couple weeks. So if this is what it's going to look like that health...
It's coming out in about a month.
That health bar at the bottom, like, what the fuck is that? Like, and
that's kind of big.
And the icons, like, everything's... It feels like it's made for, like, an 8-year-old. Like,
well, I think
I like that.
In a way, it kind of is, I think.
Yeah.
But I feel... I'm getting... the kind of feel I'm getting from it is... It's, the Super Smash Brothers of Call of Duties.
Yeah, I
feel that. It's super accessible and like anybody can jump in and play.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like as people get more used to the way it plays, as they kind of tweak balancing issues, I feel like it's going to, like, the level of play will be raised. And I noticed that even in just like the weekend that the beta was available, I noticed the Battle of Hoth went from being this like basically a shooting gallery for the Imperials, and if you're playing as the Rebels, you're fucked, to being like kind of this, once everybody knew what they were doing and how the game worked and what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It got really intense and really, really fun.
Yeah. And playing the speeder was awesome. Like, I've never been able to tow cable a walker so easily before. I really liked that.
Oh, I never got the speeder. I was in an A-Wing during the Battle of Hoth.
Oh, yeah, you could get those. I
got an A-Wing and I blew up one of the walkers.
I was in the TIE Interceptor for a little bit. That was a lot of fun.
Got an Interceptor.
I really like the flying combat. I think that was awesome. I was totally flown for a loop when I first got into a TIE fighter and was just getting shot down by X-Wings left and right. I was like, what the hell
There were a couple times where I hopped into an X-Wing, spawned, and then was immediately, like, within 5 seconds, was shot down.
Yeah, and I was just like, what am I doing wrong? And then I realized you could lock on with the left trigger.
Yes.
And then you were basically on, like, autopilot and just controlling your laser fire. And that was super awesome. Like, that was super cool. Like, I really enjoyed the dogfighting a lot. But yeah, the one thing that I'm super bummed about, and is probably the reason I'm not ready to drop $60 on this game when it first comes out, is there's no single player mode. There's no campaign. They're just announced, though, the thing that they released as a co-op, or whatever it was. I think it was co-op only. It might have been single player as well. The mission mode.
No, the waves.
Yeah, there'll be more
horde mode.
There will be more missions, and there will also be like what they're calling training missions, which basically let you play through the iconic moments of Star Wars. So like
Oh,
as
okay.
a flying mission, just like I'm guessing flying through like the Millennium Falcon in an asteroid belt, except they don't have space combat, so maybe not that.
No, it
What's
won't be
something
that.
lamer? Um, no, maybe the Death Star trench run. Oh wait, no, probably not that either. Um,
Yeah, they're shooting themselves in the foot with the no space combat thing.
yeah, but anyway, not to complain too much. There will be a single player ish component, which I'm excited about because I've played a couple multiplayer only shooters in these past couple years, and they tend to die out after a couple months, and I don't really want
This
to.
is true. I don't want this to be Titanfall. I actually like this a lot.
Yeah, me too. Like I mean, no, I have my complaints about it, but I'm hoping they will be fixed by the time it's released. Like every time the survey popped up, I was like 0. Here are all my problems. Listen to me, please.
Well, that's what the beta's for.
Yeah.
I will say it ran super smoothly.
Yes. That's the
Everything
thing.
except for Darth Vader's cape looked great.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the matchmaking was super quick. I didn't have any lag issues. I loved that the maps, like that smaller map, that had Drop Zone in it.
Drop Zone was, well, I think, the most fun.
Yeah, and I love that.
I had a lot of fun.
I
with
loved
that.
how vertical that map was. That it encouraged you to like get up on ledges and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And shoot down on people, which makes you think and adds some skill to what felt mostly like a very unskilled game. I mean, my only complaints is that it didn't have the character movement felt very static. So just adding like a slide, letting you go prone. Like, these are all things that are pretty standard in FPSs at this point. And, they didn't have it. It felt like... the character movement felt like playing Battlefront 2. Which is great for nostalgia, but in practice doesn't allow for a lot of creativity in gameplay.
Well, did you unlock the jump pack?
I did. The jetpack is very fun.
Yeah, I feel like maybe that's what they're going for, and again, I think there are going to be more like cards that will kind of allow you to get more dynamic with the character movement.
Yeah, maybe there will be like a power slide or something like that you can get, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I also like that they had that like
not...
special ability that had charges associated with it, and you could just like buy more charges, or you could just pick them up on the battlefield.
Yeah, I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to the idea of being asked to pay actual money for more currency, though.
That's what I've been worried about with EA making this game, is because EA is known for being a bit of a bastard with DLC. But they've come out and said that they're pretty much going to give out like free updates, free DLC, free planets, free all the stuff. We'll see if it suffers from Destiny syndrome, though.
What is Destiny syndrome? I don't play Destiny. Tell me about
well,
Destiny.
So I was big into Destiny. I still am. I love it a lot. But basically, with this most recent expansion that came out, the Taken King, they basically revealed that we've been playing a beta for the past year. And they also
those bastards.
They fucked over the year one people so much because they were like, basically I spent $100 on Destiny because I bought the initial game and the season pass that was included, which came with 3 expansion packs, or no, 2 expansion packs, I think. The Dark Below and House of Wolves. Yeah, that was it. It was only 2 expansions. Which were both $20 a piece, so $100.
Wow.
It was
That's a lot of money.
$80 when I bought it, but I got the collector's edition, which cost a little bit extra, so I dropped $100 on it. But basically, the Dark Below and the House of Wolves were fun. I enjoyed them a lot. But then this third expansion that they dropped, the Taken King, they were asking us to pay $40 for it.
In addition to having the season pass?
Yes, this was not included in the season pass, so that would be making this game now $140 for me.
That's like a whole second game.
Yeah, that's the
money.
thing. For anyone that just wanted to drop in, like they're buying Destiny plus the Taken King was $60 at GameStop.
Wait, get the fuck out of here. So if I were to jump in, for what costs you the $60 and $40, $100, I could get for $60.
For what I paid $100 for, you can get free now. Destiny Vanilla is completely free at this point. If you download the Destiny demo off the PlayStation Store, you have everything from year one completely free.
Oh, that's funny because they actually installed that on my PlayStation and I deleted it. I actually turned on my PlayStation one day and Destiny was just on my dashboard. It's like, come play Destiny, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We know you want this. And I was like, delete.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
So they released so what I have invested $100 in, and if I had bought the Taken King, which I didn't, I put my foot down and said, no, I'm not buying this.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Stand up for yourself.
Yeah, don't be a mindless consumer.
Don't be a sucker. Yeah.
So what a lot of people in my squad, my group of friends, have paid $140 now for, you can get for $60.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's really shitty.
And
why would they do that?
This Taken King expansion it's not a season pass. So what other they're planning on releasing 2 more expansions this year. So they might be $20 a pop each. They might be $40 a pop each. What Bungie came out and announced, though, is that they're introducing microtransactions into the game in hopes. They're just testing the waters right now, but the hope is that if they can make enough on microtransactions, these next 2 expansions will be free, which is kind of like blackmailing their player base, though.
That is.
To
that
be
like,
invest in these microtransactions.
You better buy these, and then maybe you'll get the thing for free.
Yeah.
If you spend $20 on
emotes,
on like some in-game rubles or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
About
Destiny.
The current aesthetic. All these microtransactions only affect aesthetic things, which are your different. One thing I will give Destiny that I wish every game had now at this point is if you push right on the D-pad, you just start dancing, which I feel should be in all games at this point.
Most don't use the D-pad.
Yeah, so just press right on the D-pad and start dancing.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, so hopefully if that works, the microtransaction system, the future expansions for this year will be free and or discounted for people that are staying in Destiny. But basically,
that's just kind of threatening. That's holding shit over your head. If you pay money for something else, maybe you'll get it for free.
Yeah, exactly. So what it's looking like is that by the end of year 2 Destiny, people will have invested about $200, which, to be fair, is cheaper than WoW. But
is it? I thought WoW was super cheap now.
No, WoW is still. If WoW was super cheap, I'd be playing WoW, man. It's still $15 a month, which equates to basically 112 times 15, $160 a year, which is bananas. And there's no like discounts. Not like you can like, I'm gonna buy a year worth of WoW and only pay $60. Like, you have to pay every month, which is kind of bullshit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I got the sense that Destiny was like a manipulative kind of time and money suck.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was that bad. That's really bad.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen with Battlefront, because I kind of want to get it now. I really enjoyed the.
I don't think it will happen with Battlefront. I hope that it doesn't. It seems like Activision owns Bungie now.
Yeah.
And
Activision's like notorious for kind of being dicks.
Yeah, exactly. Because they also own Call of Duty now, which they killed another one of my favorite franchises.
Yeah.
First they took Tony Hawk, then they came for my guns, and now they're taking outer space from me.
Well, Activision did put out Transformers Devastation, so they're not all bad.
Yeah,
But
tell me about that. I didn't
well,
even
real
know that
quick,
came out.
well, that's the thing. They didn't market this game at all. Basically, um, Activision got Platinum Games, the makers of Bayonetta, to make a cel shaded Generation One Transformers game based on the cartoon from 1984.
Awesome.
Um, and it's really good. It plays a lot like Bayonetta, like a lot like Bayonetta. It's basically Bayonetta, but you can play as one of 5 different Autobots. You get Optimus Prime, Sideswipe, Wheeljack, Bumblebee, and Grimlock. Um, and they all have like a different super ability and like a special ability that you have kind of like a magic meter for that recharges. Like Bumblebee, he can do a quick like slide under because he's small. He can like slide under enemies' legs and then hit them from behind, and they're kind of stunned after you do that. And like Optimus Prime transforms into a truck and just like swings his like trailer around and just hits everybody around him. Grimlock does like wrestling moves.
That
It's
sounds
really
awesome.
really fun. If you played Bayonetta and enjoyed it and have any interest at all in Transformers, I would recommend it.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but it's pretty solid. It's only I think at launch it was only $50.
Nice. I
Um,
was gonna ask if it was discounted because they're
yeah,
usually pretty good about that.
it looks gorgeous, but it is it's not like a it could run on the 360 fine. I think it's a cel shaded game,
Hmm.
but it looks really good. It's very colorful, fun, fast paced. I haven't finished it, but it's a good little game. I recommend it.
Nice.
Uh, so we said we were going to talk about Halloween, so I guess we better talk about Halloween. Kevin,
How far are we into this episode?
we're a full hour in.
We're at
So
an hour. Do we want to start a new episode and talk about Halloween?
no, because I got to go to bed. But let's real quick. What are you doing for Halloween, Kev? What are you gonna be for Halloween?
I would love if I had the time and energy to find a cardboard box and just walk around in that and be Solid Snake for Halloween.
That's a pretty good idea. I would do that.
Just put a sign on it that says "Not Solid Snake."
What you need is a box that says "The Orange," real big, or "No Place for Hideo,"
Yeah.
as in no place for Hido.
Yeah. Oh, I just made my buddy Levi and my friend Eric are up visiting right now, and I've been making them play PT the past couple days.
Oh man,
Yeah, so that's
poopy
been
pants game.
enjoyable.
PT stands for poop trousers.
Yes, it stands for I can't think of anything funny. Something
Oh man.
testicles.
Speaking of PT, real quick, did you hear that Junji Ito was supposed to be working on Silent Hills?
Who is he? I don't know who that is.
Okay, Junji Ito is a manga artist. And he did, I don't know, have you ever seen, he's done a lot of stuff, but have you ever seen the, like, This Hole Was Made For Me
Oh
comic?
wait, is he the guy that like did all the manga that like Dark Souls is based off of?
Not that I know of.
He does like the super demonic manga, right?
Not demonic as much as, like, body horror and just, like, fucking gross, weird, surreal shit. That's kind of funny.
Okay.
Like he did a thing called Gyo, which I read recently, that is about just imagine if a fish walked up onto the land with like 4 big gross spider legs, and then just everything like sharks with big gross spider legs, just like, and then that's how the world ends.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, he basically his art is super gross and fucked up, and he was going to be, I think, an art director or a concept artist for Silent Hills. Guillermo del Toro just kind of announced this on Twitter a couple weeks ago.
So is Guillermo?
basically-
Are they still making it? Like,
No, he was just like, hey, remember how PT was cool? Well, it would have been even cooler, but it's not happening. Isn't that sad? That sucks.
Why can't they just kickstart it? Like everyone would get in on that. You know?
I think they're going to get to that point eventually.
I hope so. I
Um,
really do. I really hope that Konami completely falls under and just gives Kojima his entire team back and the Fox engine back and
the
Kojima.
Fox engine, man, that's such a bummer. The Fox engine's so good, and it's only.
Is that.
And
Did they use that in PT? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Fox engine was made. PT was made in the Fox engine. Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear Solid 5, and Pro Evolution Soccer, and that's it.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
such a shame. It's such a waste.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know. I feel like Kojima may end up somewhere. I hope Nintendo hires him.
That would be amazing. I mean, I hope
He would
that
bankrupt
Nintendo
Nintendo,
hires
actually.
him, but gives him his own studio. You know, because
Yeah.
I feel like Nintendo would not be comfortable putting their name on that. But like Nintendo owns like Sega, kind of, don't they? At this point,
I don't know. I don't think so.
I feel like because basically like Sonic games only come out on Nintendo stuff now. I think
Is that-
Nintendo might own Sonic Team.
Maybe that's possible. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows?
So, are you doing anything else spooky or Halloween related?
I mean, Maine is pretty spooky altogether in October. But no, probably not. Nothing as fun as I used to do, like back in Philadelphia or anything like that. My first Halloween up here in Maine, I just wore a suit and told people I was Eddie Murphy from Raw, just because nobody knew what that was.
That's good. That's a good. You did good.
Yeah, I did. I made it funny. That only I found funny.
I'm doing a party, a little costume party, with some friends, some of whom are from work. I just put together. I had the last bits of my costume like in transit in the mail. I'm being Jacket from Hotline Miami.
Oh, nice.
The protagonist of Hotline Miami, with the chicken mask and the varsity jacket, and the Converse Chuck Taylors.
Awesome.
I'm pretty excited about it because everything except for the chicken mask, maybe the chicken mask, is just going to cycle its way into my regular wardrobe.
Yeah, probably the chicken mask too.
Yeah,
are you gonna
probably.
have like a bloody baseball bat that you walk around with?
Maybe by MagFest, because I feel like this costume will come back at MagFest.
I hope so. That sounds super awesome.
Yeah, it's been cool because I actually I put myself on like a waiting list with a British clothing company called Insert Coin Tees,
Mm-hmm.
or Insert Coin Clothing now, I think, but they basically do like really well made clothing with just kind of a video game angle. And they've done a lot of Metal Gear Solid stuff. It's all officially licensed. But I was looking at their Metal Gear Solid stuff, and I noticed in their jackets department they had the jacket from Hotline Miami, just like the jacket that the main character wears, which is like this kind of like dingy looking brown and tan varsity jacket with a big B on it. And so I put myself on the waiting list because it was sold out. And it just showed up a couple weeks ago, and it's really, really well made. Like, it's like lined. It has this kind of weird plaid colored lining on the inside. It's got like secret hidden pockets. It's like a real jacket and not like a piece of shit, which is kind of what I was expecting to get. So like, I'm actually like, oh, this is my fall jacket.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really, really sweet, and it's got a little Hotline Miami tag in it. And just be warned, Hotline Miami is going to be one of my challenges down the line
I'm totally up for that.
when you have time to play it.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the best games I've played this year. It's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
I also watched Nightmare on Elm Street 2 the other night.
Ooh, I just watched speaking of horror movies, I watched Babadook last night, which I've been.
Oh, what did you think? What did you think of the Babadook?
I loved it. I've been meaning to watch it for forever, but I'm not a big horror guy. You know, like scary movies freak me out. I do
Yeah.
really enjoy cerebral horror movies. I'm not
Okay.
big gore porn guy or slasher guy.
I'm not either anymore. I kind of can't get into that.
Yeah, but the Babadook, I've been meaning to watch it because I've heard amazing things about it, and I think it's the first movie that this director cinematographer has done. Like
It's
this,
her first feature film. It's actually based on a short film called Monster, which you can find on YouTube. I highly recommend looking that up.
Okay. I'll
Because I
definitely
think
check that out.
Monster is like Babadook in 5 minutes, and it's better
Yeah,
than Babadook.
yeah.
It's scarier than Babadook, I think.
It's like just the like last half hour of Babadook, I guess, compressed into 5 minutes.
It's the entire movie of Babadook compressed into 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, because that was
And it's,
my
instead of being a book, it's like a little kid's toy comes to life, and I think the monster's way scarier looking. That's like I like Babadook a lot. I think it kind of goes off the rails a bit at the end, to the
yeah.
point where it's like it's a little too like it's like we get it. Spoilers for everybody who's going to see. Spoilers for anyone who wants to see Babadook. Stop now, because we're almost at the end. So just stop now. Thanks for listening. But yeah, it's like we get it. It's grief. I get it. I get it. When she, like she goes down in the basement and literally goes like whoa and starts waving her arms around.
Oh yeah, at the end. Yeah, that was really
the very
weird that
end.
she just kept it in her basement.
Yeah.
What
Well,
was
it's like
really weird is that it was real. Like, I kind of would have loved if it just ended with her murdering her son, and we never found out whether or not she was just hallucinating the whole time.
well, she was. I think it's pretty apparent that the Babadook is literally just grief. It's not an actual monster, and I think that's the problem. Is it got too heavy-handed with its like metaphors, where it's like, oh, you keep it tucked away, but it's still there. And
yeah.
it's still powerful, but it you know, you can control it.
I would believe that, except for the fact that it ate a bowl of worms at the end. Unless there's just...
I think that's just like dumb shit. Honestly, I think that's just like a problem with the script.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Uh,
Like, but you have to take that stuff into account. You know, they still ended up putting it in the movie.
Yeah.
Where I think that it definitely was like I feel like they probably put that in to be like, this is too heavy, and you know, let's make it that it is an actual monster, because I don't think people would like it if it's not something.
If it's just like it was all a dream.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
fuck you.
But definitely
And that's-
that one scene when she's hallucinating when she's asleep, and her son, she turns and her son's standing there with his eyes closed going, "Wake up, mommy," and it's slowly like the audio's like faded out a little bit, like it sounds like he's underwater.
Okay.
That part right there was like, oh shit.
See, here's the thing. I think the audio is a big problem for me. Overall I like the Babadook, but I have a decent number of problems with it.
Yeah.
The one thing that drove me fucking nuts was that goddamn stock pterodactyl noise.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Like
That was
that fucking ruined it for like you could have just not had that in there.
Yeah.
That's not scary. That's from Land Before Time.
Yeah.
That's like a goofy canned like Land of the Lost pterodactyl scream that they just kept putting in there. It happened like 40 times in the movie.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end, and it just pulled me right out of it.
Yeah.
Like canned sound effects that are really obvious. It's like a Wilhelm scream, like when a stormtrooper falls off a bridge. Like that better be in the new Star Wars. But like
Yeah.
that noise was like, this is supposed to be scary, and you're killing it for me.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that like you picked up that she wrote the book, right?
Did she wrote the book?
Yeah, when she goes into the police office, like
That's
that
the thing,
zoom in
though.
on
Like,
her-
like definitely, I think those themes are there that it could all be in her head. But once again, that ending, like, shows that I think that the ending is there to kind of defend her character, to be like, you know, because her murdering that dog, like, that was when I was watching it with
That's
Levi and
that's
Erica
my
last
issue. Is
night.
I'm like, yo, that dog didn't do it. Like, it's like, oh, I guess everything's okay. The dog's still dead.
Yeah, that's what I kept saying. I was like, what's that bowl of worms for? Is she decomposing that dog in the basement so nobody finds it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, like, all those themes are definitely there, that to question her sanity, to be like,
Well, I
is
mean-
this all in her head? And then the ending is kind of like, it wasn't all in her head. She's not a horrible person. You know, she's a good mom. She's keeping it together. Like, I think the movie would have been a lot better if she had at least severely harmed her son, and maybe he was able to defend himself and she ends up in an insane asylum, or she straight up murders her son. Because
Well,
one
see,
of the other scariest points is that news report on the TV, and it cuts to that
Oh,
woman
it's her.
that looks like her. I don't know if it was the exact same
No,
actress.
it was the same actress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like,
See-
oh shit. Like, holy crap.
What I think is, I'm firmly in the camp that it was all in her head, because they do establish that she wrote children's books.
Yeah.
That's established early on. Also, when she goes into the police department to report that the book came back, but that she burned it. Like, once she actually burns the book, it never comes back because it wasn't supernatural.
Yeah.
She did actually just put it back together, but when they there's that weird zoom in on her hands.
Yeah, I thought they were
she's got-
charred from the flames, but it could be ink on her
It's
hands.
ink.
Yeah.
It's ink all over her hands.
Yeah.
But I did really like. I think for me, the scariest thing in the whole movie is the book.
Yeah. Holy
That
shit.
imagery really took me back to Monsters in My Closet, which is a book by the same guy who did Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, I've never seen that before. That sounds really interesting, though.
Yeah, it's like that kind of art, but it's a little bit creepier. Or I think it's called There's a Monster in My Closet, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just look up, like, Where the Wild Things Are, Monster
I mean,
in My Closet,
that-
you'll find it.
That book just
But-
took me back to, like, reoccurring nightmares that I had as a child.
Yeah.
Like, I had this one reoccurring nightmare probably up until I was, like, 5 or 6 that was... I still distinctly remember it to this day. Like, I wish that... At some point, I hope that I'm skilled enough in animation to, like, draw it out and actually watch it. But everything is in, like, green... Like, this weird green color that's, like, somewhere between, like, super bright green and, like, vomit green. Like, if you mix those together. And, yellow outlines. So that's the whole thing. Everything's this one green tone and then just outlined in yellow. And I'm worried about my sister, and that my
So me.
sister's being... No, not you. My sister's being, like, beaten up in the next room, and I need to go protect her. But there's noises, and I'm staying in my bed, and then this, like, creature busts through the door, and it's the silliest looking thing ever. Like, it's just cubes and has, like, weird, like, spaghetti hair and squiggles on its face as, like, its emotions, but it's, like, moving so erratically, and the head's, like, twisting and spinning, and it's making these horrible noises, and then I would always wake up.
Huh.
And I had that dream, like, forever. That's why I would always end up running down to Mom's room terrified. That and a dream of Darth Vader, but a seal.
Okay.
That was another recurring
we've all
dream
been
that I
there.
had. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty common. That's like as common as, like, oh no, I'm at school but I'm naked.
Yeah.
Darth Vader, but he's a seal.
Yeah, but he's a circus seal.
It's a circus seal. Yeah, I know. We've all been there. I'm sure. Like, comment, and subscribe if you've had the Darth Vader as a circus seal dream.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, let's. I think we should wrap it up because we're almost at an hour and 20 minutes now.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna record again next week. It's gonna be even closer to Halloween, so we're gonna be even scarier. We might talk about Bloodborne a little bit.
Let's talk about Bloodborne. Let's talk about Until Dawn. I really want to talk about that game.
Okay. It's in Redbox, so maybe I'll play it.
Oh yeah, if you actually play it, that'd be awesome.
I will do my best, or I'll watch a YouTube of it.
Yeah, I think watching a YouTube is pretty comparable to playing the game. It's that type of game. But
yeah, fair enough.
Also, if it's in, I'm gonna check to see if it's in Redbox because I would like to play it. I just don't want to pay $60 to play it. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about We Know the Devil.
Yes.
We'll put a link in the description. And if you want to play along, please do.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be it for me.
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah, we're good. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah, maybe we'll eventually have some kind of like structure for this, and like not a website, but like a Facebook page and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Yep. See you, Bill.
See ya.